Hey guys, so this video is going to be a quick one. It's just a roundup video for the last few sections that you've seen. And this is going to be just a helpful reminder of everything that you can do to strengthen your kicks in your EDM mixes. So the first step in this process is before you even start mixing or really even producing the track, and that is get a good kick sample. Buy it, make it, whatever the case is, start with a good sample. You'd be surprised how little you have to do to get a kick to sound great in a mix if you have a great starting point. All right, so that's step one. Step two, make sure your kick is tuned to the tonic of your key. Make sure it's in key with your song. I can't stress how important that is. I know some people like to think that you don't need to do that, but you do. Because it makes mixing the kick easier. It just sits in your mix at a much better level, and you're not having to fight with your sub-frequencies to make it punchy and snappy. All right, the third step, the third thing you're going to want to do to every kick is just pull up an EQ and just check out what's going on with it with the analyzer. Most EQs now have a built-in analyzing function. So after you tune it, make sure there's not too many sub-frequencies, and if there are, you just roll them off like this. Maybe there's too much high frequency, or maybe there's not enough high frequency and you actually want to boost it. You want to boost a certain part of it. That's the third step, EQ it. Now the fourth step's going to be actually the first real mixing thing outside of the EQ, and that's getting it to have the right amount of punch and the right amount of just crispiness and the right amount of weight in your mix. So to achieve that, you can use two different tools. And these are my favorite tools. There's more, but these are my favorite ones. And those would be an enveloper or an enveloper. And what that will do is it allows you to really hone in on either the attack, which is the click stage of the kick, which adds that kind of punch. And you can turn it up or, turn it down if you have too much of it. Or maybe you need more release. Maybe it's a main room kick. Maybe it's a dubstep kick and you need more of that release body part of the kick. You can use an enveloper to do that. All right, now outside of the enveloper or an enveloper, you can use compression. Now, I would tend to say don't compress on the channel strip itself. I would do parallel compression. So I would set up a send. I would do pre-fader because that's how I like working. And then send, have a compressor on that bus to really start to compress the kick. Definitely play around with compressors because there are tons of them. We live in a very cool digital age where we can have a lot of different sonic palettes at our fingertips. So definitely play around with that stuff. I like using a 1176 emulation on a lot of my kicks. I think it makes it kind of fat and nice, but by no means do you have to have a Waves plugin or any other plugin. You can get by with just stock stuff really, really well. All right, so that's the fourth step would maybe be to compress or, if the enveloper is not taking care of it enough. So you can start to really make that signal thick. And then finally, the next thing you're going to want to do, which is the final step, is just get it to sit in the mix right with purely your volume control. I will say a good guideline in EDM, most genres of EDM, is to have your kick hit or to take up at about like the peak volume at about -1. That way the kick is sure to be one of the loudest elements in your mix because I feel like that's a struggle for a lot of people. I know it was for myself when I started out. I was always having a hard time figuring out how loud the kick should be in my mix. And once you set your kick level to be peaking at about -1, it becomes really easy to make decisions like, how loud should my lead synth be, my clap, my snare, whatever. So there you go, guys. Quick roundup on everything we learned. I'll see you in the next section.